So, as I mentioned, launch of the mainnet coming here very soon. Again, we finished our ICO end of October, early November. So if you look at that to date, it's been 3 months, 4 months. We will go live within 6 months of finishing our ICO is our goal. So to, again, get through that process as quickly as possible, add value back to the investors by launching the actual business is very exciting news for us. One of the big things about Decent.bet and myself in particular, and there's a few members on the team here that have worked with me in a few different companies, is I refer to myself as a social entrepreneur, where every business that I've built had a charitable aspect to it, where we actually gave back to the community, or not just the community, but charitable causes. So aside from giving 100% of the profits back to the users, we also have portions carved out where we can make donations through what will ultimately be our charity called Decency for Humanity. And I feel the more and more businesses adopt this sort of philosophy, I look at it as 1 + 1 = 3. Because it's not just the company and the customers gaining value, we actually get to donate and help other people and have a larger impact onto the world rather than just what's associated with the platform. And we're very ambitious and very excited to be able to change the world in multiple ways and give back as much as we can to charity. So it's something that's very important to us. So the interest in the white label solutions, I mentioned that already. And then the Japanese marketing is the time that we've spent in Tokyo in particular, exposing this platform to the Asia Pacific, which again is the largest region when it comes to gaming. So we are hyper-focused and very strategic with the way that we're marketing this, the user acquisition process, and where we're focusing our marketing efforts to make sure that our user acquisition and the growth of the casino happens as quickly as possible. And that's through, again, focusing on the larger markets where online gaming is the most relevant. So thank you guys so much. If you're not a part of the community, play the slot machines. That'll immediately make you a part of the community. And we welcome you to it. What we say is our house is your house, because really, that's what it is. We are all the house. We are all the casino. And thank you guys so much for
Well, guys, we have time for about 3 questions, and then we're moving on with the agenda. So if someone has questions or comments for Jed.
I'll go quick. You answered my question, actually, but I'll ask one I think we're all is relevant to us. How much of your team is here in Panama, and why are you here?
Sure. So we have currently 9 members of the team here, and we have members spread across the world working on various initiatives. But the reason Panama was so appealing is how crypto-friendly they are. One of the things that appealed to me and showed me immediately how friendly they are is there's a Bitcoin embassy here. And I've never heard of a Bitcoin embassy anywhere else in the world. I don't know that one exists. But the fact that the country allows for that sort of establishment to exist is awesome. As well as from a tax structure of all foreign income is 0 tax rate. And then we had some incredible people here, Randy Hilarski, as well as I wish Rich Wolf was here, but some of our very close friends. Wolf Edition, his hat. Some of our very close friends were here, and they helped us to understand how friendly it actually was and why it would be a good place for us to position. We ultimately are living here currently, but our operations will be based internationally because there's multiple jurisdictions that we need to be incorporated in order to get licenses. So hopefully we stay here as long as possible, but it's very likely we move over to like a Europe or Asia, something like that, just simply from a user acquisition perspective. But Panama's been great to us. We love it here, and those are the reasons.
I wanted to ask, where do the funds for continuous operation come from? Because you said you're giving away 100% of the profits, but you also need funds to continue paying for developers, I suppose.
Say that last part again.
You need funds to continue paying for developers and operations. So where does that come from in the long term?
So it comes from the ICO raise, obviously, for the initial part of it, but we give 100% of the profits back. So revenue and profits are obviously two different things. We could easily justify taking all of our operational costs out of the revenue prior to identifying what our profit is. But what we've done is positioned it in a way to really reward our investors. So we're going to use the ICO capital to get us very far through the process, but we promise to never take more than 10% of the total revenue to cover operating costs. So as the revenue grows, that 10% chunk will grow with it. And based on our projections of growth, the ICO raise with that 10% will be enough to grow the platform to the point where we need it to be.
Okay, and if I had some technical questions, can I find you later? Like, for example, how do you randomize for all the gaming? I mean, like if you use Ethereum, how do you randomize the values in order to, give the cards for like?
Sure. So it's through random number generation, RNG.
Yeah, but what do you use to generate it? Is it like an offline machine that randomizes the number, or do you use Ethereum to randomize?
No, we use random.org, and Adrian, is that Ethereum based, random.org? Sure, so it's random.org RNG, but I believe, and Adrian can elaborate slightly more, but there's...
So one thing just to mention is that you can look at the blockchain and see over time, kind of verify the percentages.
So I was just saying, with the blockchain, over time you can verify the percentages as well. So I'll talk to you more directly about the RNG, but just wanted to mention that one aspect of the transparency with the blockchain.
Yeah, so you could easily look at the total revenue generated, how much was distributed back to winners, and how much profit was generated, to know that house edge held true, and that random number generation, that fairness of randomizing what the result is, absolutely holds true.
Hi, a token holder that want to participate with the profits of the house, of the casino, where have to store that tokens? Where have to be the tokens, and what is the, what is to work that?
The process, sure. So you'd actually send the D-bets into the platform, and in exchange you would get D-bet house shares. And so you'd be, like I mentioned earlier, it's a quarterly staking period. So you send your D-bets into the platform, you get an equivalent amount of D-bet house shares back, and then at the end of the quarter, you can either convert those house shares back into D-bet tokens and kind of cash out, or you could roll those shares over into the next quarter. But what ensures your investment is you have this house share, kind of like share in the company, that shows and confirms how much you contributed. Yeah, and it's all held in smart contracts and things like this, so they act as escrow to make sure that it's untouchable, things like this. It truly is locked up. Yep. Sure, yeah, so that's a good point, is we have a house portion, be the house portion of the casino, where users that participate in the profit sharing program will have a portal where they can log into. They can see how many D-bet tokens they contributed, how many house shares they have, and we'll provide as instant updates as to where the profitability currently is as fast as we can. It's hard to do it completely real time, but users can actually log in, see what they own, and then also see where their hopeful profits are at that point over the course of the session.
So for the 5%, you mentioned like 95% gets proportionally distributed and 5% one person gets it. How does the participation work? Are you basing it on wallets, or are you basing it on like how many shares each person has? It's more participations based on the number of shares.
Sure. So we do it through the wallets and being able to verify your participation. But what it requires to be entered into the lottery is you need to stake a minimum of 1,000 D-bet tokens. And for each 1,000 DBET tokens that you stake, you get an entry into the lottery. But we've capped people at 5 entries because, again, we're all about the community and equal opportunity. And we don't want people to come in with $1 million, $2 million and completely dominate the lottery and have the highest likelihood of winning. We restrict it to 5 entries per wallet, which should allow a more fair opportunity for everyone in the community to have a chance at winning the lottery.
And what stops someone from having like 100 wallets?
That's something we couldn't avoid. There's no way really around that. That somebody could essentially take advantage of the program, but we're going to put as many roadblocks in place as possible to discourage that and make it a complicated process to set up a wallet, have all these different identities, different IP addresses, et cetera, in order for you to be able to exploit it in that manner. But you can only control what you can control, and that's something, unfortunately, with the anonymity associated with the blockchain is a little challenging. We also have KYC policies as well. So through the wallet and the lottery participation, it's very likely we'll have some sort of KYC verification associated with that. So they'd have to have multiple identities, multiple wallets, multiple identities that can pass the KYC process, multiple wallets, multiple IP addresses, et cetera. So putting all these roadblocks in place will make it challenging.
This is the last question. We have to move on to the next presentation. Thanks.
Once you have white labels, how is staking going to work? Can you decide if you're staking on this house or that house or that house?
Sure. So the white label, our envision for the white label at this point is that you would white label the technology, but you'd build your own business model around it. So if XYZ company white labeled the technology, they may have a staking aspect to it, they may have a lottery aspect to it, but they're going to be in complete control of how they operate and structure that business. So it's possible that there are multiple options, but you would just choose between the options and which business you are most comfortable with. Us being first to market and the actual owners of the technology, we feel makes us by far the most appealing option if they were to kind of mimic our model to some degree.
Thanks, Jed. Everyone, please a big round of applause. Go use the slot machines, get to know the technology, and